Hi, this is Bob Havens, and this is my presentation for the final project in bit123 Next Generation Internet Protocol. This is Bob Havens. This is for winter quarter 2018 at Cascadia College, and my topic is implementation obstacles. My inspiration for this topic was twofold. The first was the roundtable discussion video that we watched for our Module 2 assignment, where we watched a roundtable discussion for individuals who are educated in the industry, and they spoke about their experiences migrating from IPv4 to IPv6. As you can imagine, there were quite the diverse opinion from how IPv6 should be implemented or whether it should be implemented at all. Some of the members of the roundtable discussed that they didn't really need to have IPv6 at this time because they had enough addresses when they utilized NAT. And they also said that the support for IPv4 is not going away anytime soon. So what's the urgency? IPv6 has been out there since the beginning of the internet, really. But really what's going to happen is it's going to depend upon the large companies like Facebook and YouTube and Google and those kind of companies that is going to force the compliance. But as they said, we're not quite there yet. And one of the other things that they talked about was some of the monetary and time considerations when prioritizing networks' current needs. For instance, when prioritizing projects, you only have a certain amount of manpower and money to be able to do these things. So if you have, you're going to have to recreate your company's DMZ or create a new WAN or replace the firewall or this or that or this or that, and then you have to implement IPv6, how does that fall into the whole priority scheme of things? The other inspiration was more personal. This one was about the troubles that I was having when I tried to install and do the assignments for the class of bit123. When I first started out on during the coursework, I ran into some problems trying to do some of the basic IPv6 functions. And I tried everything. I followed the directions step by step several times. I restarted things. I uninstalled, reinstalled, but I just couldn't make things happen. And it turned out that I did not have the IPv6 functionality at home. It just my hardware didn't support it, or my ISP didn't support it either. And then I also tried to go to the college and use the test network there, but it didn't work. The IPv6 didn't work there either. And when I tried to talk to the IT manager, he kind of laughed and said, "Why do I even need to work on IPv6?" Which kind of was frustrating in itself. So I had to redo my home network to make sure that it worked properly. And I will show you what I had and what I changed it to in the next couple slides. And one of the things is in the next couple modules is I had to do some tunneling to be able to get the IPv6 protocols to get through to my home computer, and that didn't turn out to be very well work well for me because of the security issues. I didn't really like that, so I chose to do the implement the cloud-based solution. And so I'm hoping that this will the work that I did here will help alleviate some of the frustrations that I have in some of the future courses and classes that I'm going to take at Cascadia. So here's a depiction, a diagram of how my home network used to be. As you can see, I had two basic zones. I have my man cave, which are my TV and my gaming systems and stuff like that. And then I had my office where I did my schoolwork. And I used Frontier's ISP, the DSL. And as it turned out, Frontier DSL does not support IPv6, no matter how hard you try it. And even when you called in and asked to get some help on it, the technicians didn't even know you were just speaking a third language to them. But I had the ISP DSL coming in to my DSL router to a router which had a Wi-Fi connection to a repeater, and then did all the connections that way. And then I had a hard wire to a desktop and to my school laptop. And this worked out well for me. I mean, I was able to surf the net, do all the schoolwork that I needed to do. It was a little open because of the Wi-Fi connection, but it worked out well, and it wasn't much of a security risk where I live. What I ended up having to do was dump Frontier's DSL and go with the Xfinity cable network. And because of the way my house was wired, I don't have cable into the office, so I had to change things around. So instead, I had the cable coming into the man cave into a cable modem router, which then was IPv6 compatible, and that is the wireless right there. And then I had to run a Cat6 line from my garage, the man cave, into the office to connect to a second IPv6 compatible router, which was then hardwired to the desktop and to the laptop. So that's what I had to do to get this thing to work. So as you can imagine, there was a little extra expense in order to get the cable and run the cable and buy the extra router that was compatible, the equipment, and all that stuff to make sure that it would be able to work just to get to the same point that it was working at previously. So now I'll show you an example of what I was seeing when I tried to connect my laptop through IPv6 and through IPv4. Okay, so to demonstrate that I do have IPv6 connectivity, I'm connected to my IPv6 router and all that stuff, and now I'm going to go ahead and show you the IPv6 connectivity. I'll just go ahead and reload the page, and you can see how the running there, and it says, "Ba-dam!" I have that, and there's the test runs, and there's that. So now I'm going to see what I can show you the other one. So now I've disconnected from my IPv6 router and connecting strictly IPv4. So here's this, and I'll go ahead and do that to run the tests, and it says, nope, you don't have it. And you could see this is kind of what I was getting at, where it wasn't able to get any IPv6 connectivity. So that's kind of what I was getting at when I was trying to test my IPv6 connectivity. So that kind of wraps up my presentation. I just wanted to show that I was able to connect IPv6 from my home network, and that IPv6 is something that's going to be very important that you have to address in the near future. So I want to let you know that IPv6 is coming. It is very important that you at least get familiar with IPv6, being able to configure it for yourself, and make sure that you know all the steps you need to do for corporate America. And thank you very much. I do appreciate you listening, and I hope you learned something from this presentation.